during competition, including the warm-up session. In addition, bowlers may not pat finger or thumb holes of the ball with rosin. Remember that if any equipment requires alteration, you must notify the tournament staff for approval prior to having it done. When your lanes come on, you will have 10 minutes of practice. You will bowl the first 5 minutes of practice on your assigned lane and will move to the other lane of your starting pair for the remaining 5 minutes of practice. Athletes, your lanes are now coming on for your 10-minute practice session. practice is now. Three games with total pinfall determining the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these collegiate athletes a big round of applause as they begin round 2 of single elimination match play. Athletes, good luck and good bowling.
A very happy good morning to you, wonderful people of Earth. Welcome back to the Intercollegiate Singles Championships. Our live coverage continues here on BowlTV.com, live from Polking Lanes South, here in Dayton, Ohio. Back with you here, round 2 of match play underway. Here on lanes 27 through 30. Got 4 channels, of course, ongoing. 2 on the women's side, 2 on the men's side. And our matches will feature Tom Hankey Jr. from Weber International taking on Ryan Winters of Wisconsin Whitewater. Nathan Stubler is on lane 29. He is taking on Brian Bourget of Robert Morris, Illinois. Other featured matches on our respective pairs also include way down on 35 and 38. Again, on the men's side, we open up with Matt Hibbert taking on Kyle Duster. Matt Hibbert representing the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Kyle Duster, a shocker from Wichita State. And on 37 and 38, Alex Acosta from St. Xavier. He had the highest 3-game set of anybody in round number 1 yesterday. Shot 7-16 versus Jeffrey Mann. He is taking on Jorge Rodriguez Rosas. And on the women's side, on 13 and 14, Chloe Skorzinski from Maryland Eastern Shore taking on Jordan Newham. In fact, those pair of lanes, 13, 14, 15, and 16, and all NCAA quadrant there with Sarah Gill, part of the 2019, of course now reigning NCAA champion Sarah Gill. She is taking on Carson Hosius of Fairleigh Dickinson, down on 5 and 8, or 5 through 8, I beg your pardon. Arguably one of the greatest one-on-one or individual matchups you'll ever see. Brianna Klemmer, the Division II-3 2019 NCAA Player of the Year. She is taking on Maria Bolanova, the Division I Player of the Year from Vanderbilt. And on lane 7 and 8, Leslie Campbell of Wright State taking on Sierra Kanemoto of Wichita State. 2 local players, of course. Leslie representing Wright State, which is just down the way here. Sierra from Dayton, Ohio, and the area. We'll keep an eye on our number 1 seeds as well, as they are just off camera. Avery Brown is taking on Bailey Delrose. Avery, the number 1 seed on the women's side, shot 13.58 from Arkansas State. Last 2 games, 265, 289 to capture the number 1 seed. And on the men's side, on 25 and 26, Alex Olette of Concordia is taking on Logan Williams. And we'll try to give you some bonus coverage of both of those matches while we have it here on, while where we are situated here on 27 through 30. We are actually nestled in between lanes 21 through 24. So we're in the settee area. So we're actually right next to the Alex Olette-Logan Williams match. But our cameras, of course, are nestled down, further down on the high end. Got one additional cam here for you. All right, so sit back, relax here, folks, and we'll be off and running in just a sec. Got some things to change, and I'll be back momentarily here on BowlTV.com. All right, folks, welcome back. We've got some really good action going on across the spectrum here. Matt Hibbert down on 35 through 38. Started with the front five. He is, again, taking on Kyle Duster. So if you are up and at 'em this morning, love to know where you're watching from. Obviously, almost 8 o'clock Eastern time. We got plenty of folks across the country and the world who may not be up, just now waking up or about to leave the house, perhaps to go to the office. But love to hear where you're watching from this morning on BowlTV.com. Neil Williams Jr. here with you. Brant Houghton, Jason Thomas, Terry Bigham. Crew this week. Want to give a big thanks, of course, to the USBC youth staff. Gary Brown, Zach Barton, Ryan English, Andrew Lowey, Tangela Chance is here this week. Hannah Ryan-Miller. Jimmy Chanthavong. We saw Tom Hankey and a hold up and stop. It looks like he may have had a different bowling ball in his hand and maybe realized that it wasn't his spare ball, or at least the ball that he would have elected to shoot spares with, that particular spare. I could be wrong on that, but that's what it looked like. So give you some updates. Thanks, Elizabeth, for checking in and watching with us. Watching from Griffith, Indiana. I know exactly where that is. So you are up early, Elizabeth. We appreciate you tuning in. Checking out Pete Burgos and Coach Kabacki this morning. Ryan Winters now, 6 frame, back half of game number 1 if you are just joining us. Again, the format here for the match play rounds, it is single elimination. We started with 24 players on each side, men and women. 6 games of qualifying yesterday. The top 8 players in each division received a first round bye, meaning they did not have to bowl round 1 yesterday afternoon. So they got the afternoon and the night off and essentially able to enjoy themselves. Seeds 9 through 24 all had matches. 8 matches ongoing yesterday. The winners, of course, moving on to today and face the respective folks who earned byes. For example, Alex Olette, he is the number 1 seed. Did not have to bowl yesterday. Or I should say yesterday afternoon in round number 1. sure to check the brackets and any qualifying results that you may have missed. Those are available not only at bowl.com, but they're also available right here on bowltv.com in the tournament info tab, which is the third from the left. Big double there for Winters, and now Hankey attempting to double up, leaves a 2-pin. Again, if you're curious about the additional channels, other matches, be sure to check those out. You can see what lanes are available. Now we've got some men's bracket action for you here. Logan Williams was the 16th seed. He advanced yesterday, defeating Michael Pruchnick 675 to 506. He will have a 5-pin advantage. Over number 1 seed Alex Ouellette after 1. Tom Hankey, the 9th seed, defeated Ryan Dudley yesterday, 658 to 570. Of course, Logan Williams, by the way, from Robert Morris, Illinois. Alex Ouellette from Concordia. Tom Hankey attending Weber International. And again, Ryan Winters, who earned the final bye as the 8th qualifier yesterday. Of course, got the day off, or the afternoon off, on Tuesday. Nate Stubler defeated Christopher Yadal 650 to 609 yesterday. Now taking on the 4th seed, Ryan Bourget. In other matches, Morgan Moore, 21st seed, taking on Kyle McGrath, the 5th seed. Kurt Shaw, the 18th seed, taking on Marcus McLean of Indiana Tech. Marcus, the number 2 seed. Matt Hibbert, the 10th seed, taking on Kyle Duster, the 7th seed. Alex Acosta was the 14th seed. He is taking on Jorge Rodriguez Rosas. And Daniel Hansen taking on Pete Virgos. Again, Pete, the number 6 seed. That match is on 39 and 40. And Elizabeth, I know you are watching. That is that match, obviously, just to the right of our camera view, down on the high end, so you'll be able to see a little bit. At least the bowling ball is going down the lane. I will tell you what, though, if the matches on 35 and 38 get done a little quicker than what happens on 39 and 40, we'll try to run down and turn the camera to that direction. Avery Brown, the number 1 seed right now, in some trouble early. Trying to get settled in, but Bailey Delrose has thrown a 5-bagger at Avery. For you early morning viewers, well, we certainly will reward you for waking up early this morning. We'll have a giveaway. Here between first and second game, maybe second game, around there, the matches we are currently watching. All right, here's Nathan Stubler, the southpaw. And he leaves week 7 or Stubler. Part of St. Ambrose squad looking to make some noise here. At the Intercollegiate Team Championship, Stubler individually obviously trying to make some noise in the singles competition before the team event begins. 8 on the Junior Team USA squad for 2019, earned that spot at team trials, finishing 7th. Tied for 5th place at Junior Gold in the U20. Tom Hankey, that's a huge double in the 10th. That's a 3-bagger overall, throws a couple. And he's going to be in the lead early on against Ryan Winters after one game. And Bailey Delrose, meanwhile, continues to forward on here on the women's side. Keep you updated on some of the matches down there. Ryan Bourget. Ryan finished 3rd at the Addison Sectional. Individually, he won the Kegel ISBPA Midwest Classic, which that is no small feat. It's a tough event, tough conditions, and many of the best teams in the business there. That and the Hoosier Classic, I think the 2 highest attended events. Of course, both centrally located as well. Season average for Brian, 215.4. He certainly may hear his name called tonight at the Night of Champions banquet. That'll take place at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, give or take. Hankey shoots .216. Thing you notice about some of the matches in that you'll see in match play. In a sense, bowlers, in my opinion, get to kind of be themselves. So if a player may be a little bit quicker to the line on the approach, just kind of picks the ball up and go. Yeah, that part probably won't change, but the opponent, who may or may not be a fast bowler, if you will, may have to adjust their pace just a little bit. So obviously they won't go as fast as that individual, but they want to keep the pace that they're accustomed to. Same thing with perhaps a couple players who may be a little bit more deliberate in their approach. If the opponent is a quicker paced bowler, that's a bit of an adjustment as well, but you kind of keep doing your thing. So you'll see some matches kind of go quicker than others. Some will go a little slower than others. And it's certainly based on generally what the players are doing. All right, looks to be giveaway time. Pick a number, any number, and you win. That's pretty much how it goes, except all you have to do is click the button when it's time for you to do so. You will be prompted to submit your entry. All you have to do is click it if you want to enter and have an opportunity to win a free gift from us this morning. It is literally as simple as that. All right, early trouble for Ryan Winters. Again, this is a single elimination format. So unlike the team event, which is double elimination, the singles format is, no pun intended, single elimination. .206 for Nathan Stubler to begin things. He's got a 35-pin lead over Brian Bourget to start. And while we have a moment, congrats are on the way to John Young. Early congratulations to you, John. Thank you for watching early with us here on BowlTV.com as Bourget starts game 2 with a strike. Seen a lot of wrapped in pins for righties so far in this event. It'll be something to keep in mind. Same thing for lefties. We've seen some wrap 7, some mean ones as well. Quick look over at Logan Williams. There's Logan from Robert Morris. And for the Robert Morris men, there are 3 individuals who are competing at the moment. Logan Williams, Brian Bourget, and 2016 winner Daniel Hansen. It's an opportunity for them to still bring home a national title back to the program this season. Kenny Ryan did it last year on the single side. Of course, the team finished second to McKendree, and of course, they had all intents and purposes of certainly getting back to the finals and winning it this year, but did not make it out of their sectional. They finished 5th in Addison, and it's been a tough road, certainly, but they have learned a lot, and certainly want to use this opportunity here in singles competition to represent the school and represent well. Tom Hankey has begun things with a front 3. as Ryan Winters now to deal with a 3-6-10. Bourget, two-handed righty. Looking for the early double. Look like he light that one off his hand, and he gets some love on the 10. Alex Ouellette does the same. Flexes a little bit. That's a big game here for Ouellette. We'll give you a couple more shots here in just a second of Alex. In a 5-pin match after one with low scores, 179 for Logan Williams, 174 for Alex Ouellette. Ouellette, one more strike, will be in the 250s. Ryan Winters, wow. And Winters another 7-10. Here's Ouellette. 228 in the 9th, strike already on the board here in the 10th. Here's another one, looking to get in the 250s. Bang. Alex Ouellette of Concordia, the #1 seed, doing damage early here. Back to 28, or excuse me, lane 29. Bourget of Robert Morris. And now Bryant starting to find the look here. He's got 3 in a row. Again, trailing by 35 pins to Nathan Stubler. Winters, will he make it? Pins can bounce here in Polk Lane South. All right, final shot, game 2 for Ouellette. All right, 256 for Alex. 174, 256. That's a big boost and a big jump. Logan Williams only looking at 204 at the moment. Tom Hankey continues his hot start. 4 in a row now for Tom. Junior Gold champ. Also on Junior Team USA. 5th frame, Hankey from Weber International. You saw him motion, come on ball. Make the move with that right hand. It does, and he's got 5 in a row. Logan Williams gives himself a nice opportunity to keep it close as he heads to the 3rd game here momentarily. He'll be in the 2-0s. But now we'll have some work to do. So he will trail in the match. Solid strike just to the left of your screen. Now Nathan Stubler is watching Bourget start with the front 3. He responds in the 4th. Logan Williams goes to the bag. Let's see what he comes up with here. All right, 3-6-10. Back to Winters. He's left the pocket 7-10 on each lane. And nearly another one there. So Ryan in a bit of a troubled spot. If you will, perhaps with his ball reaction. Right side of your screen, Bourget now up on the approach. Ryan loves all Boston teams from Long Island area. And he's got 4 in a row. Originally from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, is Bourget. Now looking for the front five. And he's out of trouble. It's a good sign there for Winters. Not sure if he made a ball change or not. Boy, Tom Hankey looking pretty good here. Obviously with the front six. Williams is to the left of your screen. Out with some early emotion here in game number 2. After leading by 5 pins after one game, now finds himself down 50 pins to the number 1 seed Alex Ouellette on 25 and 26. Wow, Ouellette gets him to roll through. Hey folks, don't forget bowling.com is the best online pro shop since 1999. If you want the widest selection and the best prices on bowling gear, then visit today and experience the best. Again, bowling.com, the best online pro shop since 1999. Widest selection, best prices on bowling gear. You better go check them out at bowling.com. Bowling is going on here, and Tom Hankey is doing some very good bowling to start here. He's got the front 7. Winters needs to start striking soon. I think that was a ball change. I'm going to have to guess, simply because I didn't see him physically make it. But the particular bowling ball he's throwing now, going through the pins, as many would say, the correct way. Going through it the way he certainly would like to have seen it. And they've gone back-to-back flush shots in frame 6 and 7. That's a situation where you can't wait too long. If you see your opponent start with the type of success that Hankey has started here with, you know, after one game you go, okay, I'm not down by too much. 32 pins, I can make that up. But when your opponent starts with the front 7, meanwhile you've left a couple pocket 7-10s, you're almost forced to make some type of move. Kurt Shaw, seeing him out there doing some work. Well, this will be a good match. This will be a good finish here. We'll try to bring it to you. Speaking of Williams and Olette on 25 and 26. Bourget. Ryan through the nose. Unsure if he able to break down the split there. He was not. Hankey, 8th frame. Bang. Tom Hankey Jr. with 8 in a row to start game 2 of his 3-game set versus Ryan Winters here on BowlTV.com. Yankee stepping up. 9th frame. That one got away from him. He knew it when he let it go. Takes a deep breath on the way back to the ball return as he wiped his hand on his right leg. Leaves himself with the head pin. He's got the 1-2-4 to take care of. But essentially no worries there, Tom. You have done the damage. Coupled with some tough ball reaction for Ryan Winters as he tries to find a good look here. And Hankey Jr. using this game potentially to outdistance himself. And well, I tell you, just like that, no guarantees. Couple errant shots there in the 9th. Let's see if Winters can somewhat capitalize here. That's a very good shot. What I mean by that is, Tom starts with the front 8, a couple errant shots in the 9th. He opens. Still plenty of opportunity for Hankey to shoot 260. But any slither of hope right now is what Ryan Winters is looking for. And if he can make Tom Hankey just briefly think about it, just enough, you never know what can happen in game number 3. Winters is going to need a big game. Certainly, he's going to need them all here in this 10th frame. Meanwhile, Nathan Stubler, he's trailing here in this game by 13. But still in good shape overall as Winters able to kick the 10 out. Let's take a peek over at Logan Williams and Alex Olette. Here is Williams. 7th frame shot and the 1-2-10 for Logan Williams. Tried to give it a run here. Logan started with the front 4, split in the 5th, strike in the 6th, and now a washout to deal with. Meanwhile, Alex Olette went split first frame, and he has garnered the back 6. So for all intents and purposes, the number 1 seed looks like he's going to advance here. Speaking of Olette, now to Ryan Winters. He'll take it. One more and he will get to 181. Back to Bourget. Nice shot. Wow, and another 7-10 to end things. I think he's motioning that was number 4. That is 3. That was 3 this game. And so he must have had one in game number 1. Wow. It's hard to try to get on a run when you keep leaving pocket 7-10s. Obviously, that goes without saying, but mentally, that's a tough one. All right, here's Olette. Boy, he's thrown a lot of lows here in this game. In fact, the last 2 games. As Hankey needs a 4-pin, but Tom, boy, he's looking good. Important frame here, I think, for Tom, just to get back on track. Throw that 9th frame out of the window. Just toss it out of your mental space. With a good frame here. Looked like a good shot. Nail down the spare and move on to the fill. Alex Olette has thrown 8 out of the first 9. To close it out versus Logan Williams. Very impressive stuff here from Alex Olette, making Concordia University proud. This match is going to be the first one done. I talked about pace earlier. It also helps the pace when one of the 2 players is throwing strikes at the rate that Olette is, and for a little bit, Logan Williams was this game as well. Congrats to Logan Williams on a solid season. Will not end for him individually with a national championship. He finished 8th in Addison at plus 96 for 6 games, 199.3 his season average. 248 for Tom Hankey. 179 for Ryan Winters. Nathan Stubler, part of that dominant squad from St. Ambrose, who, for all intents and purposes, flat out destroyed the Smyrna sectional. Here's the young southpaw. High flush 6-pin there. .200 even for Logan Williams. He'll shoot .580. Avery Brown, the #1 seed on the women's side. She can strike here. One more in the 10th. She'll get to 181. Had a rough start. Finished with 159, or started, I should say, with 159 in game number 1. Her opponent, Bailey Delrose of Maryville, shot .220 game 1. Followed it with 170. Can't see the end score, but she's got 394 after 2. It can be done, but Brown is going to need a huge game, game number 3, to continue on in this tournament. Meanwhile, Olette finishes with back-to-back 250s. And he is moving on. Pardon me. He is moving on. I was in between a sneeze there. The fans are going this morning here at Polking Lane South. So a little chilly to start things. 464, 363. Winters trailing by 101 pins. Crazier things have happened, folks. Meanwhile, Nathan Stubler with an open frame in the 10th. He shoots 197. By the way, Winters started with a stone 9-pin. Just the luck just keeps running hot. For Ryan. Well, match play brings out just a different element. You can kind of see the players and give a little, see the little gamesmanship that, you know, could be played in a one-on-one type setting. And for 99% of the time, it's all in good fun, good taste. No one's really trying to be disrespectful. And I'm not saying any of that is happening here, but match play can bring about those things. I think it's good. It's okay to run it out every now and then. Believe me, I've rented out my fair share of lanes back in my day at this very event. Not the singles event, but the team event. But it's one of those things where you're just in the moment. And we could see maybe a little bit of that as we move towards match number 3 or round 3. And that's when TV spots will be on the line. So the atmosphere and the intensity may ratchet up just a little bit. Ryan Bourget shoots .222. Got a pretty even match between Stubler and Bourget as Nathan starts with a strike. It's a 10-pin match. So certainly one to keep our eyes on. Again, if you're just joining us, Alex Ouellette, the #1 seed, has defeated Logan Williams 688 to 580. The #1 seed will be moving on in the bracket. Specifically, Ouellette will move to 29 and 30. He will take on the winner of Tom Hankey and Ryan Winters. Right now with a 101 pin lead and even after 2. Looks like Tom Hankey could be moving on, but see if Ryan Winters can at least give him something to think about here. Winters, for his part, has not thrown the ball bad by any means. I believe he has thrown 4, pocket 7 10s. He's left the stone 9. You get to a point where you just have to start doing things for the sake of trying to strike. Second consecutive appearance, I believe, for Ryan here in the Intercollegiate Singles Championships. Of course, the big prize this week, along with the singles title, those who also are here with their teams, meaning they got a chance to compete in both the singles and team events. Ryan has been instrumental in the success for Wisconsin Whitewater in these last few seasons. They've had back-to-back third-place finishes and trying to get to the TV show, speaking of Wisconsin Whitewater, for the first time in program history. That's on the line for them this week. They've taken the steps every single year. Won the Collegiate Club Championships recently and looking to turn that success into an ITC title. Stubler and Bourget both doubling to start things. Stubler for 3 in a row. All right, Nathan. 3-bagger. Bourget now up looking to match. 3-10 for Hankey. I like Tom Hankey Jr. because I enjoy his reactions after his shots. I also like him because he throws it very well. Weber, you look ahead to the team competition on the men's side. Certainly one of the favorites. If you had to pick a couple teams that could win an ITC title, every team could win it. But if you had to pick favorites, Weber would be one of those you probably pick. Got good depth, good chemistry. They bowl well together. And certainly good coaching with Del Warren on the men's side, and on the women's side, Randy Stalton, of course. You take a look at a Weber, you look at a McKendree. Of course, you're the defending champions on the men's side. Wichita State. Lindenwood, Wisconsin Whitewater, and the list goes on and on. One of the highly contested matchups on the women's side this morning was Brianna Klimmer and Maria Belanova. Right now it is Brianna Klimmer with the advantage. Very good match between Leslie Campbell and Sierra Kanemoto. Just 8 pins the difference in that one. That's on our channel lanes 5 through 8. If you're curious, be sure to check that out on bowltv.com. Thanks for checking in, Aaron. Curious who you were referring to in regards to your roommate. By the way, Bourget opened in the 4th. Stubler now with 4 in a row. Oh, I beg your pardon. Perhaps 7 pin. That's what I get for not looking at the screen and instead looking at the lanes. But my angle does not allow me to see the 7 pin. And a Greek church for Hankey. Folks, don't forget, don't miss the PBA playoffs. They're taking place every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. They were on last week. I believe they are now down to the round of 16 or the round of 8. I could be wrong. But it's all happening on FS1. Shout out to the PBA doing some really good stuff here in the 2019. Of course, top 24 players from this season battling it out. Bracket style format leading up to the live championships, which will take place on Fox June 1st and 2nd from Bayside Bowl in Portland, Maine. Again, that is the PBA playoffs every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on FS1, leading up to the live championships on Fox Sports on June 1st and 2nd. June is a great month. This happens to be my birthday month. Stubler makes the spare, and this time, both the 7 and the 10 are able to go. Again, a 10-pin match entering game number 3 between Stubler and Bourget. Hankey Jr. after the open in the 5th, strikes in the 6th. Winters about to step up working on a double. Quick opportunity at some bonus coverage here. Take a look at number 1 seed on the women's side, Avery Brown. Did not like it, but Avery giving it a run here. Trailing by a decent amount after a slow start. Trailing by 55 to be exact. She's gone 9 spare, 4-bagger against Bailey Delrose, who has 1 strike but could step up for her first double of the match, or the game, excuse me. Meanwhile, Nathan Stubler. Three-bagger, 9 spare double. Bourget has doubled, and it would be an even game minus the open frame in the 4th for Bourget. Stubler I misspoke earlier. I apologize. That match is tied at 393 apiece. So wrote the wrong score down and gave Nathan 10 extra pins. My apologies earlier for that. Good thing you're watching it on the scoreboard. So, having said all of that, Stubler now in the lead. So that's one that's going to come down to it. Looks like we've got one additional match ongoing. McGrath and Morgan Moore. Kyle Duster still ongoing versus Matt Hibbert. Tom Hankey Jr. He is going to advance. He's going to take on the number 1 seed, Alex Olette. That kind of day for Ryan Winters. He's throwing good shot after good shot. Stubler, all right, takes care of the spare. Quick look over at Avery Brown. And a 2-8-10, and that could be potentially the one there. She's making a run after a 4-bagger, trying to make up a 55-pin deficit. Best she can do now is shoot 244. That would get her to 583. Best Delrose can do is shoot 593 if she strikes out. So Avery has given herself a chance. She's going to need him, though, down the stretch. It's a big shot there. That 7th frame shot could end up being the difference down the stretch. So Delrose now will have to make some shots. If Delrose does not strike at any point in the next 3 frames, really the next 2, I should say, Avery Brown will have an opportunity potentially to step up in the 9th and 10th frames and actually go up and win the match. All right, here's Bourget now. Bourget working on the 3-back. Bryant likes Boston teams. And Bourget got one in, leaves a 3-10. now trailing by 5. And Delrose has split in the 8th frame. I'm talking about getting the women's match. Number 1 seed Avery Brown. It is not on either of our women's channels at the moment, so giving you bonus coverage here on our 27 through 30 channel when we have the opportunity. Bourget to step up, take care of the 310. And an open frame for Brian. That is 2 opens for him, 2 splits. All right, so Stubler now a little more room. Score will be changed momentarily for Bourget. Oh, and Stubler gives it right back. Here's Bailey Delrose of Maryville. Wow. And Delrose, I believe she just stoned a 9-pin. And so Avery Brown now can step up in the 9th and 10th frames and win the match after being down 55 pins. Stubler, open frame in the 7th. Okay, folks, this is what I was talking about earlier. Now we're getting down to it. And Delrose misses the 9-pin. And it's almost rudimentary at this point. A couple of marks and Avery Brown is going to advance. 9th frame shot. Avery. Oh my. And Avery Brown cannot capitalize. Oh, what a turn of events. It's right now it's a battle of who wants to win this match. Tom Hankey has advanced. He will move on to face Alex Olette. We have a 1-pin match between Nathan Stubler and Brian Bourget. And now Avery Brown. Best he can do is shoot 521. Delrose can strike out to get to 551. But Avery Brown, that was her opportunity. We'll take it there now. Leaves a fast 8. Wow, what an interesting match. That looked to be all but over early. Delrose struggles in the final game and essentially gives Avery Brown the opportunity to really just mark twice and win the match. Brown then leaves a 2-8-10 in the 9th. Excuse me, that was in the 7th. Split in the 9th. And now, after essentially just needing a couple of pins, she opens in the 10th frame. And Bailey Delrose looks like she is somehow going to hang on here. .530. So Delrose needs a mark here. A mark and Delrose will advance in the tournament. Keep you posted. And she strikes, and that's it. Nine out, they would have tied. And that'll do it. So number 1 seed on the women's side has fallen. Now we've got a 1-pin match between Nathan Stubler and Brian Bourget here on 27 and 30. If you're just joining us, my name is Emil Williams Jr. You can see the top 2 scores, or the 2 scores up top, excuse me. They tied at 393 after 2. Both on a spare. Stubler with a 1-pin advantage. That is where we stand. Bourget to start. Bourget, the 2-handed righty. For Robert Morris. Bang on the first shot for Brian Bourget. And originally from Rhode Island. All right, Bourget back at it here. Really needs them all. That will force Stubler to get them all to win by 1. Bourget, he crosses over. And now Stubler just has to match at this point. Kurt, let's see, Kyle McGrath. Hard to check from my angle, but that match is not over. Kyle about to step up in the 8th frame. He looks to be up in the match overall, but Morgan Moore is on a double. All right, Bourget in the books. At 6:04. Strike, spare. And Stubler will win by a stick. Count important here on this first shot. Big shot there. All right, that one puts him solely in the driver's seat. Any kind of mark the next 2 shots, and Stubler will advance by 1 pin. How about this? Couldn't ask for a better opening round matchup, huh? The winner to face the winner of the Morgan Moore-Kyle McGrath match. Again, Bourget is finished up. He shot 211. That's 6:04. A strike or any kind of mark the next 2 frames. Stubler will advance. What's he have? Oh my. Oh my. He leaves the 4-10. He needs 1 to tie. As simple as that. 1 pin, and we tie. If he gets 0, Brian Bourget will advance by 1 pin. He's going to go 4-pin. All right. So we have a tie. All right, folks, so they'll go to a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. Speaking of Nathan Stubler and Brian Bourget, Zach Barton is down explaining the rules. The higher seeded player, which in this case is Brian Bourget, will have lane choice and who starts first. So we've got some bonus bowling here on bowltv.com this morning. Meanwhile, still can't get a good angle on our Morgan Moore-Kyle McGrath match. Ian, I don't think anyone has done that. Certainly the level of difficulty, but I don't think we've ever had any two players from the same school win a singles title in the same year as well. We've had a couple teams, I believe, sweep the team portion. Morgan Moore just shook hands with Kyle McGrath. Looks like Kyle may have won this match. I think Nathan Stubler just trying to kind of wait things out a little bit. Wait until Kyle is complete. Looks like they also have one item to change on the scoreboard. Chris, that's a good observation. Thanks for joining us, by the way, both Chris and Ian. And Kevin Johnston, appreciate you tuning in. All right, so here we go. Roll off. The southpaw Stubler. Bourget has elected for Stubler to start. And he will finish on the right lane. Stubler leaves a 7-pin to begin. Not the end of the world there for Nathan. No, he's a little disappointed. Certainly wanted to get off to a good start. Obviously in a 2-frame roll-off, but Bourget has pulled a couple shots. If he can keep his angles together, speaking of Brian, he hasn't missed the pocket for the most part. Only time he's missed, he's pulled one, gotten one in, and he's left a couple 3-10 type combinations. Big spare here, though, for Stubler early on. All right, that helps the confidence. So it looks like Stubler not only is going to finish, but he's going to finish last if the roll-off is the same as kind of the match play format, meaning your opponent bowls, or if you're starting a match, you bowl the first frame, your opponent then bowls the next two, and so on. If that's the case, Bourget can basically step up and end it early and not even give Stubler an opportunity after Nathan did not strike in this first frame roll-off. Here is Brian Bourget of Robert Morris, Illinois. Bourget, oh my. 2, 8, 10, I believe. And now Brian's got to be a spare shooter here. I wonder, does he have I think he's got the backup in his arsenal. The two-handed righty. He's got to give it a run. the old slow roll on the left. All right. So now the work certainly cut out for Brian and Stubler. Depending on what happens here, at worst, we'll just need a mark in the 10th. All of our matches complete now. Everyone on the women's side is complete. Only match going is Bourget and Stubler. 9th and 10th frame roll-off if you are just joining us. They tied at 6:04 apiece at the end of 3 games. They were tied after 2 as well. Bourget, that's through the nose. He leaves at 310. Begins to take that left hand and try to adjust the tape on his wrist. Shakes his head, as you can see. Not happy with his execution here. I'm unsure of what Daniel Hansen has done, but it's possible that all 3 members of this Robert Morris squad, #1 team in the nation, did not advance to ITCs as a team, but certainly wanted to do what they could to bring a singles championship back to the school. Could be out. And 2 open frames for Bourget. And that will be, of course, the old odd total of 17. Which means for Stubler, 8 on the first ball, and he's going to advance to take on Kyle McGrath. Stubler from St. Ambrose. He's moving on. Nathan Stubler has defeated Brian Bourget in the 9th and 10th frame roll-off. What a season, though, for Robert Morris. Talked about it with Logan Williams. I will say the same thing with Brian Bourget. It's been a pleasure to kind of get to know some of the players across the college bowling spectrum. But when you see many of the same teams kind of every week at various events, it's a lot of Robert Morris this season. I enjoyed talking with them. Couple of tough losses when you go back to sectionals. And now kind of another tough one here as Bourget will fall to Stubler. These kind of things do build character, folks. They build you up mentally as well the next time you're in the situation. Stubler to finish things out. Nicely done. Oh, St. Ambrose alive and well here in the singles championships. Bourget and Stubler shake hands. And now we can add more names and more advancers to the bracket.
And that concludes round 2 of competition at the Intercollegiate Singles Championships. Athletes competing in round 3. Practice for round 3 will begin at 9:20. Once again, practice for round 3.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
At this time,
oh, excuse me.
Adjustments are allowed in both
my watch is
divisions.
fast. I beg your pardon. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Practice will begin at 9:20 Eastern Time. So we'll be back on in 10 minutes. And we will have round 3. So on the men's side will be Alex Olette and Tom Hankey Jr. on 29 and 30. We will have Nathan Stubler taking on, I believe, Kyle McGrath on 27 and 28. I'll actually have those matches for you here on bowltv.com. And then I am unsure of our additional advancers at the moment. So the bracket will be completely updated, of course, in just a few minutes and available online. We'll have to get you some women's updates as well. Let's see what I can get before we go, folks. Hang tight. Let me just let me take a a quick snapshot here. I'll be right back. All right, folks. So just to recap here. Again, Alex Olette and Tom Hankey will do battle. Nathan Stubler and Kyle McGrath. I believe the signature that I'm reading is Marcus McLean. And the only winner we don't know of right now is Alex Acosta and Jorge Rodriguez Rosas. And that's simply because it wasn't on the board. And it looks like Daniel Hansen defeated Pete Virgos. So the Robert Morris connection is still alive here in the tournament. On the women's side, I believe, let's see, Samantha Laird and Sierra Kanemoto will face off on 5 and 6. On 7 and 8, Brianna Klemmer defeated Maria Bolanova. She will take on Rachel Strogan. Bailey Delrose moves on to face Carson Lukosius. Jordan Newham from Vanderbilt still alive. She will take on Olivia Farwell. Vanderbilt had 3 individual competitors as well. It looks like at the moment Jordan Newham, only one still holding and carrying the torch for the Commodores, the 2019 NCAA runner-up, of course the 2018 NCAA champion. All right, folks, now we'll take a brief break. 5 minutes to go before practice will begin in our featured matches. So hang tight, and we'll be back in a moment. You're watching Match Play Rounds 2, and of course, number 3 coming up here on BowlTV.com.
assigned lanes for round 3 of competition. Athletes and guests, welcome back to round 3 of single elimination match play. Each match will be 3 games with total pinfall determining the winner, who will move on to the semifinal matches on Saturday. At this time, I would like to introduce the athletes competing in this round of match play. Athletes, when I call your names, please step out onto the approach until I've announced all matches. On lanes 27 and 28, we have Nathan Stubler and Kyle McGrath. On lanes 29 and 30, Alex Olette and Tom Hankey Jr. On lanes 35 and 36, Jorge Rodriguez Rosas and Daniel Hansen. And our final match on the men's side, on lanes 37 and 38, Marcus McLean and Matt Hibbert. In our women's division, on lanes 5 and 6, Samantha Laird and Sierra Kanemoto. On lanes 7 and 8, Brianna Klimmer and Rachel Strogan. On lanes 13 and 14, Bailey Del Rose and Carson Lukosius. And on lanes 15 and 16, Jordan Newell and Olivia Farwell. Let's give a big round of applause to all of our competitors in round 3 of the Intercollegiate Singles Championship. Athletes, you may now return to the sexy area. Altering the surface of a bowling ball by the use of abrasives, cleaners, or polish is prohibited during competition, including the warm-up session. In addition, bowlers may not pat, finger, or thumb holes of the ball with rosin. Remember that if any equipment requires alteration, you must notify tournament staff for approval prior to having it done. When your lanes come on, you will have 10 minutes of practice. You'll bowl the first 5 minutes of practice on your assigned lane and will move to the other lane of your starting pair for the remaining 5 minutes of practice. Athletes, your lanes will now be coming on for your practice session. switch lanes for the remaining 5 minutes of practice. practice has now ended. Remember, you will be only 3 games with total pinfall determining the winner. At the conclusion of this round, we will have a meeting with the athletes advancing to Saturday's semifinals. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these collegiate athletes a big round of applause as they begin the 3rd round of match play in single elimination bracket competition. Athletes, good luck and good bowling.
All right, folks, round 3 off and running across the house. Lanes 5 through 8, lanes 13 through 16 on the women's side. Four matches, 8 competitors on the women's side. And 4 will move on to the CBS Sports Network semifinals, which we tape this weekend. Same situation, of course, on the men's side. As you watch Nathan Stubler, we saw defeat Brian Bourget in a roll-off after the two were tied after 2 games at 393, then tied after 3 at 604. And Stubler prevailed. He's taken on Kyle McGrath of Lawrence Tech, Stubler of St. Ambrose. Number 1 seed on the men's side, Alex Olette, is still in the field. He is taking on Tom Hankey Jr. Down on the high end, on 35 and 36, Daniel Hansen taking on Jorge Rodriguez Rosas from Lincoln Memorial. Daniel Hansen, of course, from Robert Morris. And for Hansen, if he can make a TV show, it will be his 2nd appearance. And his 4 seasons, of course, winning the event as a freshman in 2016. Now potentially could bookend his collegiate career, potentially. With another spot on the CBS Sports Network at minimum semifinals if he wins this match. Our other match on the high end, the men's side, Matt McLean from Indiana Tech taking on Matt Hibbert of University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Specifically, our women's matches feature on 13 and 14, Bailey Delrose and Carson Lukosius. 15 and 16, it'll be Jordan Newham and Olivia Farwell. On 5 and 6, Samantha Laird and Sierra Kanemoto. And lane 7 and 8, Brianna Klimmer and Amy Sherman. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Appreciate you joining us. Brandon Howden, our maestro here. Also doing some work on social media. Jason Thomas. Some big video production work. Terry Bigham has already wrote and written some very good stories, of course. One of them talking about Robert Morris yesterday. Our leaders, our number 1 seeds after yesterday as well. Of course, we'll have a recap on who will advance here in just a sec. Also, don't forget, good folks, while on Bowl TV, stop by the lab and check out Team USA head coach Rod Ross as he breaks down several Team USA players in his new series, The Video Room. Again, the lab is a channel on bowltv.com, so you certainly have access to it if you have subscribed already. Along with the lab, you've got backstage, you've got live events, of course, as well, and certainly archived events also. But be sure to check out Rod Ross, Team USA head coach, as he breaks down several Team USA players in his new series entitled The Video Room. It's a pretty cool breakdown of how Rod discusses and talks about the intricacies and nuances of specific players. So players obviously that you're used to seeing on television, in step ladder finals, competing for major championships titles, both PBA, PWBA, etc. Interesting to see how one of the greatest coaches in the world identifies and maybe troubleshoots if necessary. Again, the winners of these matches will move on to CBS Sports Network. Daniel Hansen already with some fire. He's got some support back there as well. Michael Martell is here. Fellow Robert Morris teammate, senior. Robert Morris recruits very well. You look back and you think about the squad that won a title in 2014 with Marshall Kent, Matt Gasson, Cameron Weir, John Partapillo, and Zagar. Think to yourself, wow, how do you replace a group like that? Well, Robert Morris managed to do that. Nice shot there from Tom Hankey. Be some interesting scenarios. So we take a look at potentially how things will hold up. Kyle McGrath, again representing Lawrence Tech. McGrath looking for 3 in a row and on pace to continue his 279 max score potentially. And grabs another. Nathan Stubler trying to hold off an early rally here. from McGrath in game number 1. That open does not help. 2 opens in the last 3 frames for Stubler. Meanwhile, Tom Hankey stepping up in the 10th frame. Wow, what a shot. 4 in a row for Tom. And he will. All right, so Weber's in the building. The cheers are off and running for Mr. Hankey Jr. Depending on what happens here, though. If he's able to get to the 240s, which if he strikes here, he will, and Ouellette strikes out, or at least doubles in the 10th, it will be at least a 30-pin advantage. Only time we see really Hankey have any trouble, if he misses right, he'll come back and he'll wipe his hand off on his leg. Which means that it could mean that there could be some extra perspiration on his right hand that causes him just to lose it just enough at the bottom, which would certainly make sense when one gets away from him every now and then. All right, McGrath opens in the 9th, and that's really good news for Nathan Stubler. Because if Stubler can get to 184, even if McGrath gets to 240, that's a lot better than having to chase down essentially 279 and be looking at a more than or a near 100 pin deficit after one game. Tom Hankey in the books with 230. And Ouellette finishes with 213. The early 17-pin advantage for Hankey Jr. Weber versus Concordia University on 29 and 30. Getting pretty close to another giveaway. At least I think we are. Wow. And that is a gift for Nathan Stubler. McGrath opens in frames 9 and 10. And again, instead of being nearly down by 100 pins or more, Stubler now can go into game number 2, potentially, with no more, or excuse me, at minimum, a 40 pin deficit. Wow. And then you throw a good shot and that happens. And in a 3-pin total pinfall match, again, it's early. We know things can change throughout. 2 more games to go. But, you know, you heard me describe what happened, and obviously you watched it. This would be a 100-plus pin deficit. Stubler. McGrath makes some mistakes late. Then Stubler gets up, throws a decent shot, and leaves a 6-8. He'll give it a run. He'll get the count, though. All right, 224 for McGrath. 152. For Nathan Stubler. All right, it's giveaway time. We've given out a couple of, what we give away today, Brant? T-shirts? Another chance at some free merchandise, courtesy of bowltv.com, awaits you. All right, big shout out to Lauren. Got herself an opportunity, or excuse me, not only an opportunity, she won. Plain and simple. Want to say thanks for those who have tuned in. Had my attention elsewhere and some things, so I haven't been able to keep an eye on the chat. So thanks, I mentioned earlier, appreciate Chris, Joseph, Kevin. Apparently Lauren is watching too, but just not in the chat. Stacy, Dana, talked to Aaron earlier, Gregory. Hope all of you are doing well, and we appreciate not only your support, but certainly the support of these great student athletes. Nathan Stubler and Kyle McGrath even. Here, this game has both start with 3 in a row. Again, other matches ongoing if you are just joining us. Right now you're watching Nathan Stubler and Kyle McGrath, number 1 seed Alex Olette and Tom Hankey Jr. Down on the high end, as Stubler able to break down trouble. Jorge Rodriguez Rosas from Lincoln Memorial is facing Daniel Hansen, the 2016 men's ISC champion. Matt Hibbert is taking on Marcus McLean of Indiana Tech. On the women's side, I'll tell you in just a second. Meanwhile, Hankey strikes in the 4th. On the women's side, on 13 and 14, Bailey Delrose and Carson Lukosius. And on lanes 15 and 16, Jordan Newham and Olivia Farwell. And on 5 and 6, Samantha Laird and Sierra Kanemoto, Brianna Klemmer and Amy Sherman on 7 and 8. Wow. I believe Kyle felt like he got away with one there. You could tell by his body language. Saw how he motioned the way his wristed arm went back. Not the way he wanted. Okay, Tom Hankey with some emotion. Let's see you, Tom. Let's go. And Hankey with 3 in a row. Hankey, a freshman this year. It's weird to call him a freshman as McGrath now with 5 in a row, because we got a chance to kind of get to know Hankey very early on. In his youth bowling career, after winning the U15 Junior Gold Championship in 2015. Also won a couple Youth Open titles in 2015 as well, all events, and was a team champion. So when you get a chance to see young players that early, it's actually kind of odd when they get to college. You go, what? They weren't already in school? But Hankey, just a freshman. Alex Olette answers back with a very nice double. The lead for Hankey with just 17 pins entering game number 2. Stubler with another 680, left one on the field. In game number 2, or excuse me, 1, I beg your pardon. So an open frame for Stubler. He's got an uphill battle. Not Mount Everest yet, but that mountain slowly getting higher and taller to climb. If Kyle McGrath, if you go back to game number 1, the way McGrath has been striking. You know, he opened in frames 9 and 10. He could be looking at 279 and certainly potential to go. We'll just give him 250 plus. Daniel Hansen wants to get back on television and represent Robert Morris. See him down on the high end. And as Hankey from Great Barrington, Massachusetts. 5'9" freshman mowing him down. McGrath looking for 6th in a row. He has it. How about Kyle McGrath here? And from Lawrence Tech in Southfield, Michigan, Alex Olette points. Says, hey, I need 1, 2. May have gotten away with 1. McGrath, a junior from Davison, Michigan. McGrath finished 7th at the Addison Sectional. Season average 195.2. How about the front 7, Kyle? Oh, wraps a 10-pin. Now Alex Olette looking for 4 in a row. The Bay City, Michigan native. So a couple of Michigan natives on hand here. And he would like that shot back, without question. Of course, Concordia located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, home of Big Blue and the University of Michigan. Alex attended Delta College for 2 years, received or earned, I should say, his associate's degree, and oh, it just touches the pin there. The old 2-pin to go on down. He's got a slash on the board. You have to think Stubler made an adjustment off the 6'8" he left in frame 6 on the left lane. If you're wondering why there could be so much emotion, simply put, the winners of these matches go to the CBS Sports Network TV finals. They'll be specifically slated in the semifinals first and have an opportunity to win a singles championship should they advance from there. That's what's on the line here. Olette, 9th frame. All right, McGrath continues to apply pressure to Stubler as McGrath in the lead and just looking to, of course, add to it. Ouellette, first shot, 10th frame. Wow. Threw his hands in the air immediately. Not sure he thought that one was coming on back to the 1-3. Instead, he's got a chance to shoot 247 and keep a pretty decent deficit going should Tom Hankey go ahead and strike out for 257. This is a very important 10th frame for Ouellette. Should Hankey strike out and Ouellette does shoot 247, that would just increase the deficit by 10 pins. Big shot there for Ouellette. Remember earlier, if you recall, folks, I mentioned how match play, sometimes you can see a little gamesmanship. Sometimes you run it out a little bit. The intensity tends to go up, and that's what we're seeing here because of what is at stake. Good bowling. In fact, there's great bowling happening, and it's been happening all morning. Once our rounds are complete here, that'll do it for all singles competition until Saturday when we'll be taping the singles television shows. Team competition will begin tomorrow, I believe at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Tonight we'll have a portion of the Night of Champions banquet. All right, Hankey. Tom makes it a 4-bagger. As Ouellette finishes with 246. One more for Hankey, and now he is in the 250s. But Ouellette, again, will still be within great distance. Trying to come back and still win this match. And the way that one has shaped up should be a great, great game number 3. Looks like Jorge Rodriguez Rosas and Daniel Hansen already into game number 3. Eden Green, Nash, what's going on? I don't think there was an open in sight in that game between those two competitors. 257 for Hankey Jr. $28 pins the difference between Ouellette and Hankey Jr. That was a huge game from Ouellette. Again, to keep pace. Anything less for Alex there, and he's potentially looking at anything from 50 to 70 pins on behind. Ouellette to start it. Didn't sound like 10 back. Looks like 4-pin. Kyle McGrath, now in the 10th frame. Stubler, by the way, finishes with 202. Huge for McGrath. After not finishing game number 1, the back-to-back opens in frames 9 and 10, where he could have maxed out for 279. Now he is in the 260s and looking to flat out move on very early here from Nate Stubler. Here's Hankey Jr. Oh, boy, that was a wicked 6-pin. Came roaring around the 10 off that sidewall. That's how vicious that wrap 10 was. It caused the lanes to reset and sweep out the 10 because even the machines thought it was such a good shot it should have struck. McGrath to get in the 270s. Bang! Boy, Kyle McGrath, 2 frames away from going back-to-back 279s. All right, popped up probably just a touch on that one. 369.10 on the fill, but 275 for McGrath. He is at 499 after 2 games. Nathan Stubler at 354 after 2. And 145 pins the difference. Sometimes you just run into, you hear the term, the buzzsaw. Right now, Nathan Stubler has come face to face with Kyle McGrath, the buzzsaw, through 2 games. Nice early break, however, for Stubler as he strikes in the first frame. Well, McGrath begins things with a strike. folks, don't forget, as you watch BowlTV.com, watching all this great action, well, you already won some free stuff. Now an opportunity to get some discounted merchandise. Just head over to LogoInfusion.com. You get 25% off with the coupon code BowlTV. Of course, Logo Infusion, official jersey provider of Team USA and some other USBC staff items. So again, you get 25% off with LogoInfusion.com. Head over to their website and use coupon code BowlTV. Infuse your game. Heard someone mention some high scores in the chat over on the high end. We'll do a quick click over and see what's happening. Wow. Hansen at 513 after 2, and I'm unsure what Jorge has. I think only because his last name is hyphenated, which takes up the space where they have been entering scores after 2 games. Although it looks like Marcus McLean at 420. That match just wrapping up in the 10th frame. Hibbert shoots 235. That should be a good finish. All of our women's matches now into game 3. Again, if you're curious, just click on the additional channels, 5 through 8 and 13 through 16. $398 to $390. So Carson Lukosius from Fairleigh Dickinson with an 8-pin lead over Bailey Delrose of Maryville. Jordan Newham from Vanderbilt. Get an opportunity to get back to TV. She was just there with her Vanderbilt Commodores squad. They finished second to Stephen F. Austin State. Jordan with a chance to kind of keep the Vanderbilt train going. If she can stay ahead of Olivia Farwell from Duquesne. And over on 5 through 8. Daniel Hansen is someone you can always hear if he's bowling well, he can get it going pretty quickly. And he looks to be in the zone. We talked about his 513 for 2. Again, just another update on the women's matches on the low end. Samantha Laird, very close match with Sierra Kanemoto, 453 to 449. Same thing with Brianna Klemmer and Rachel Strojan. And that one is coming down to the 10th frame. Be sure to check that one out, folks, over on 7 and 8, lanes 5 through 8 channel. Klemmer just crossed over and carried the 610 to double. She's got a 6-pin advantage. Wow. How about that? All right, some good matches to see who's going to make TV. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled program in front of us. The early miscue from Hankey Jr. He rebounds, he doubles, 9 spare, and now 4-pin here awaits. Meanwhile, Alex Ouellette has gone 9 spare strike. Open in the 4th, 9 spare. So both of those players right now have taken a momentary hiatus off the strike train. Had to pay for a transfer. And hopefully they'll be allowed back on the strike train here in the next few frames. McGrath. 9-pin, but for Kyle, it is, hey, let's just stay clean, stay in the moment, stay in rhythm. Now moving on to potentially vie for a singles championship. Big shot there from Hankey Jr. Hello, Angie. Appreciate you tuning in. Gregory. Not sure where you are, but sounded like Chicago earlier in the week when I left. Of course, it was snowing Sunday morning in April, which it's also been snowing in April in other places like Minnesota. So I hope everyone is A-okay where you are, Gregory. Oh, man. Wow. Ouellette wraps a 10. When you get down to it, folks, we're in the back half of the final game. Boy, you look across these two pair of lanes here, and the wrap 10s that are now happening. Game 3, you talk about the transition. Little carry down where the ball carrying down just a few additional feet, sometimes even inches, past that original break point, and just enough for the ball for, we just saw Kyle leave one, we saw Alex leave one, those two righties, the two right-handers there. Just enough to be behind the 1-3. Kyle's parents are in attendance. I'm sure they are ecstatic. Ouellette, big shot here, 7th frame. And he breaks down. Wow. See from my angle, if I don't look at the screen, and that looked like maybe just an 8-pin. Instead, it looks like the 4-8. Nearly the bucket. That's good info, Keith. We've seen our fair share of wrap 7s and wrap 10s. Chris, buddy, go ahead and use that discount. And go ahead and give us your best Fred Flintstone impersonation. So getting down to the wire, and especially for Ouellette, who trails by 28. And I'll give Alex a lot of credit. He has withstood this run here from Tom Hankey. And Hankey's going to finish the match. Not here, but he will have a chance to close it on out. And that's a huge double. Ouellette, the top seed. At this point, he's going to need a little help, I think, from Tom Hankey. At the moment, Ouellette, the best he can do is shoot 214. I would put him at 673. Right now, Hankey would just need 186 to reach that marker, and he is well on his way to that. This shot here could wrap it up. Oh my, that was nearly disaster. That was almost a 3-6-7-10. Instead, it's just a 3-6-10. This could be that pivotal moment. Nate Stubler with a washout to deal with. A good run here for Nate. Good match between Daniel Hansen and Jorge Rodriguez Rosas. I am unsure who won, but I know Jason Thomas will have plenty of highlights for you on social media. Big spare there for Hankey. So Hankey Jr. now still again in the driver's seat. He can go off the sheet for 214, but Alex Olen is going to need them all here. He's going to step up in frames 8 and 9 in must-strike situations. Got to put some pressure on Hankey. Here's Alex. Needs it, has it. You never know. Right now, Olette's goal is to make Tom somewhat think about it. Olette will allow. Thank you, Gary. Olette will allow McGrath to go. Here is Olette. And a weak 10. Daniel Hansen shoots 781. Nicely done. He had 513 after 2. You talk about wanting to get back to television. There was no doubt that was the goal for the 3 Robert Morris players. Someone get to television and kind of, for either of them, it would have been some sort of redemption for the program, for the team, after missing, of course, ITCs as a team. Hansen now can have the opportunity. He will have the opportunity to win multiple singles championships. All right, here's Tom Hankey. Good shot here, and he could all but in TV finals, and he wraps the 10-pin. How big is that 10-pin now for Olette? And Alex, the best he can do, he's going to lose pins this game. He can only get to 653. And that'll do it, folks. Tom Hankey Jr. is on to the semifinals. It is mathematically over. Think Tom Hankey doesn't know what he just did? You think Tom Hankey didn't want to represent himself, represent his squad, represent his area in the Intercollegiate Singles Championships? Congratulations, young man. Nice run by Alex Olette. The #1 seed falls one match shy of reaching television. Finished second behind Matt Hibbert at the Addison sectional. Alex's season average 197.9. And Concordia was in the mix for a little bit as well as a team in Addison. Congratulations on a great season, Alex, but this one belongs to Tom Hankey and a Weber International. Tom Hankey Jr., the U15 Junior Gold Champion of 2015, will have a chance to win the 2019 Men's Intercollegiate Singles Championship. So we know two players. Matt Hibbert. You can hear the cheers. You can hear his yells from down here. So Tom Hankey will face Kyle McGrath in semifinal number 1 on the men's side on Saturday on CBS Sports Network. Again, that will be taped. I'll tell you the air dates right now. The men's show will air Tuesday, April 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern. The women's show, I'm speaking of singles, will air this coming Tuesday, the 23rd at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So McGrath and Hankey. The other semifinal will feature now Daniel Hansen and the winner of the Matt Hibbert Marcus McLean match. It looks like it might be Matt Hibbert based on Matt's reaction and Marcus's fifth frame here. Just kind of getting it on out the way. Nice moment there from Lawrence Tech. All right, folks, that'll do it for our men's coverage. Again, congratulations to Matt Hibbert, Kyle McGrath, Tom Hankey Jr., and Daniel Hansen. 4 finalists, semifinalists specifically. Fairleigh Dickinson over on 13 and, 15, 16. Or is that 13 and 14? Yeah, it's 13 and 14. My apologies. Looks like that match is coming to a close. Carson Lukosius may have just clinched her spot. And Sierra Kanemoto looks like well, it won't be pretty. It's Jordan Newham sends one. Yep, that one pretty. But Kanemoto makes the spare. And I believe that spare just clinched Kanemoto's spot in the singles semifinals. What you see on your screen right now, of course, Alex Olette taking a couple photos with perhaps his parents. Curious what's happening here with the Jordan Newham match and Olivia Farwell. So, this is huge for Sierra Kanemoto, by the way, folks. She is from the area. She's from Dayton, Ohio. So, she's able to make TV in front of her friends and family. Of course, the Shockers are here. Most of the teams, if not all, are now here to be able to practice, register, check in, etc. But from the family element, of course, you can't put a price on that. So congratulations to Sierra Kanemoto. All right, let's see what we can get here. This is bonus coverage of the women's match here on 15 and 16. You can access this match from the wide shot angle or view and see the scoreboards. All you have to do is click lanes 13 through 16 to access that channel. But while those are still here and in the chat, there's a little bonus coverage. Apologies for the Ethernet cable there. And an all NCAA quadrant there. 4 players representing NCAA schools. It's going to be Jordan Newham, it looks like at least. The senior from Aurora, Illinois. Final person, final player, final match to finish up here. Sorry. Pretty cool moment for Jordan. Of course, a tough loss for Vanderbilt as a team at the NCAA Women's Championships just a few days ago. I was actually in Cleveland at in Wickliffe. They finished second after a long road to the title match after losing their opening round match. Double elimination tournament. Had a long road to get there. They made it, but Stephen F. Austin too much in the title match. But Jordan, who just got accepted to grad school at Vanderbilt this week, she got the call during practice yesterday, or excuse me, yesterday. Or was it Monday? What's today? Gosh, I don't know. Monday. She got the call on Monday that she was accepted into the Vanderbilt grad school, if my memory serves correctly. You see a bit of the celebration. Jordan's dad is here. She had Adele Warner and Maria Bolanova also competing for and representing for Vanderbilt here in the ISCs. All right, so we may have a small presentation or acknowledgement. I'm not exactly sure, but I'll hold off
And
on
that concludes competition for the Intercollegiate
going off the air.
Championship.
There is Zach Barton.
First 3 rounds of bracket competition. Let's hear it for all 48 competitors in today's tournament. Now, moving on to the TV matches on Saturday. In our women's division, our first match will feature our number 14 seed from McKendree University, Brianna Klimmer, and her opponent, the number 7 seed from Wichita State University, Sierra Kanemoto.
Well, what a matchup that is, huh? Brianna Klimmer versus Sierra Kanemoto.
Competing in our second match, our number 8 seed from Fairleigh Dickinson University, Karsten Lukosius.
Carson
Lukosius
and Jordan Newham.
Ladies, congratulations
Impressive
on
stuff.
to Saturday's TV semifinals. In our men's division, our first match, the number 11 seed from Robert Morris University, Illinois, Daniel Hansen. And his opponent, our number 10 seed from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Matt Hibbard.
Daniel Hansen and Matt Hibbard.
Second match, the number 9 seed from Weber International University, Tom Hankey Jr.
Tom Hankey
and his opponent,
Jr.
The number 5
And again,
seed from Lawrence Tech,
Kyle
McGrath.
McGrath.
Gentlemen, congratulations on advancing to Saturday's semifinal matches. Will the 8 bowlers who have advanced to Saturday please meet me in the lounge behind lanes 15 and 16 where we had our players meeting. Once again, the 8 individuals advancing to Saturday will need to meet in the lounge behind lanes 15 and 16.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. Congrats to the 8 players who are moving on. And Brianna Klimmer will take on Sierra Kanemoto. Jordan Newham will take on Carson Lukosius. And on the men's side, Kyle McGrath versus Tom Hankey Jr. and Daniel Hansen versus Matt Hibbert. Those shows will be taped on Saturday to air the following 2 Tuesdays. April 23rd at 11 p.m. Eastern, the women's singles will air, and April 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern is when the men's singles show will air. Well, tonight we'll have a little bit of coverage from the Night of Champions banquet and be able to share with you which teams, I should say, are part of the ITCs this year. Which individuals, of course, will be recognized as All-Americans as well as Coaches of the Year. So we'll have that for you. I think on our countdown, we may have that beginning at, our calendar, I beg your pardon, at 7. I don't think it will start at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And so if we need to make any changes, we will. So just keep an eye on that. But for all is said and done, ISCs to this point has concluded. We appreciate everyone tuning in. I want to thank Brent Houghton, our maestro. Congrats to everyone for who watched, who won a free item today, courtesy of BowlTV.com. I want to thank all of you for viewing and watching. Hopefully you were able to see some of your favorite student athletes. I want to thank our staff here, the USBC Youth, Gary Brown, Zach Barton, Brian English, Andrew Lowy, Hannah Ryan Miller, Jimmy Chanthevong, and probably missing someone, Brandon Cruz. Appreciate everyone's help. Big thanks to Tangela Chance being out here this week as well. And certainly want to thank Terry Bigham and Jason Thomas. Between the two of those individuals and myself will be video highlights as well as a recap of ISCs coming up on our social channels at USBC across youth_bowling. And, of course, on bowl.com. That will do it for us here. My name is Emil Williams Jr. We will see you tonight at the Night of Champions banquet, and then we'll be back with you tomorrow morning as we kick off team competition and the Intercollegiate Team Championships. It's been my pleasure as always, and I look forward to talking with you then. Let me guarantee, by the way, what time we start, because that's important to know, right? You want to know when to make sure you're tuned in. We're scheduled to begin at approximately 8:30 a.m. with competition. The opening ceremonies will begin at approximately 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's when we'll probably be on the air. So join us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for team competition. Join us tonight at approximately 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Might be a little later than that. Keep that in mind for the Night of Champions banquet. All right, having said all of that, my name is Emil Williams Jr. We will see you all tonight, and certainly, if not, tomorrow, as we continue to deliver the greatest student athletes in collegiate bowling. This has been a presentation of the Intercollegiate Singles Championships. You watched it live, and you watched it only on bowltv.com.